Hello, and welcome to a special second episode of
Pass or Fail.
I was just about to say that. Thank you, David. Alright. Anyway, on today's show, we will be reviewing 3 movies. 2 in theaters right now, and 1 on DVD.
And those movies include Inception, Toy Story 3, and The Losers, which is currently on DVD.
Absolutely.
So, where shall we begin?
I think we should start with Toy Story 3. It was an absolute masterpiece. There's no denying that.
I mean, it wasn't a I love it, but I wouldn't call it a total masterpiece. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I would not call it a total masterpiece.
Wow. What didn't you like about it?
I don't know, like, it wasn't a bad movie. Like, it was well made, well voiced, well put together. But I kind of thought the story itself really was a spitting image of Toy Story 2.
I seriously don't remember, like, Toy Story 2, like, being just like this.
I mean, there were some differences in terms of how it ended, in terms of some of the development, but a lot of it did feel similar in terms of, like, how Stinky Pete resembled Lotso the bear.
Lotso hugging, yeah.
Yes.
But I thought there was a big difference between Stinky Pete and Lotso.
Sure, what is it?
I thought that Lotso had more of a motivation for his evil doings.
Absolutely, I will give you that.
And the fact is, well, the opinion is that, well, Lotso just seemed like more. He seemed like more of a threat than Stinky Pete because he didn't know what he was gonna do next.
Exactly. Stinky Pete had all the intentions spelled out.
Yeah.
And he was just more evil in general.
Yeah.
In some ways, but I still felt there were certain similarities in terms of like how Lotso was trying to gather all toys, saying you have to do this way, you have to do this that way, and he was kind of controlling all of them, and that was like the same with the second.
Well, the thing is, in this one you got more characters and you got more variety too. Speaking of the toys that Lotso controls.
Okay.
And like the fact that there's more variety, you have more characters to analyze, and like there's more there on film.
Absolutely.
So it makes it feel like a different project in the sense that, you know, it has more in it. And like some people can compare it to Toy Story 2, but like in a way, in both films that they're in a bad position.
Of course.
But in this one, it's not just Woody, it's all the toys.
Every single person in sight, or toy in sight for that matter.
That wasn't the only thing that I liked about this film was the variety. I personally thought that it had a few funny jokes.
It did.
And it was mixed in with some very well thought out drama.
It sure was, but what I personally think is in some parts they could have cut down, because when you see your average Disney movie runs for about like 90 minutes or so, and not that the length of the movie matters that much for this one, but it depends on the movie really. But in this one I felt there were parts that could have been slightly shorter, and had they done that, it might have flown along quicker, and you might have really gotten into it more easily. At least I would have.
Wow.
But you gotta give the scene credit with Buzz speaking Spanish, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I just thought that every moment was relevant to the story. There was no, like, pointless, unnecessary scene.
Okay.
I mean, the fact is that even though it was a 2.5 hour, 2 hour movie, it entertained you throughout the way, and maybe not in the sense it made you laugh, but it kept you interested throughout the way. And, like, I mean, sure, some people may say the drama was over the top, but I thought that it all fit in with the motive that the toys were in such a bad place, and, you know, this is the, well, supposed end of the series. It might be nice to see a Toy Story 4, but, you know,
that's alright.
The story is pretty much over from here.
I guess so. I guess the last thing I really thought was okay about it was, I felt like there wasn't quite as much adventure and spontaneous events and like the creativity of the first two in general.
I thought there was a lot of adventure because like you know, they're in the daycare and, you know, they're getting there, and then like it's interesting to see them, you know, the drama of them settling in, and then, you know, they but then they find out it's bad and they want to
course.
get out, and then it turns into like a prison escape kind of thing,
Yeah.
which also kept me interested. And then eventually, I don't want to give any spoilers away,
course.
but they come to the climax, and that's when like it all comes together, and like I know
Yes.
this is the same for every movie, but in this film it really did all come together, and it was a really suspenseful
Okay.
climax. And the ending, some people may call it sad, which you know is what it intended
course.
to be, but I thought it was a well-written way to end the series.
Fair enough. Now our next review will be
Wait,
oh,
before
sorry.
that's all right. Before we move on to our next review, we gotta give this a verdict.
Of
I
course.
give this film a pass.
I give it a fail.
Okay. Moving on.
Yes.
Our next review is Inception, which, if this doesn't get nominated for Best Picture, I will be shocked.
What did you like about it exactly?
I liked the complexity of the story, the surrealist nature, the creativity put into, but still managing to be realistic kind of creativity put into the dreams, the intense, like, kind of suspenseful, you know, really suspenseful plot that always kept you wondering what would happen next, always kept you thinking. I was on the edge of my seat, but maybe, I don't know, maybe that was because I had coffee, but even if I didn't, I'd still be on the edge of my seat.
Okay. Personally, what I really despised about the film was how people even had the guts to call it better than The Dark Knight.
Oh, it was better than The Dark Knight. I mean, not like way better. I still like The Dark Knight, but I thought it was better than The Dark Knight for sure.
I just thought The Dark Knight was just a more attention-getting. I mean, sure, it was a long movie too, but really somehow draws you in better in terms of like the acting, the sudden start of the plot.
What do you mean by the acting? Are you trying to say this film had bad acting?
Oh no, it didn't have bad acting, but it was not superior to The Dark Knight. Inferior is better to say.
It's not. Yeah, you thought it was inferior to The Dark Knight, Inception.
Yes.
It's the acting.
Yes. A lot of things, like
Wow.
the story,
I mean,
just
like,
everything, just
I-
the story, the characters, the directing, just
Yeah.
basically every aspect of filmmaking just did not measure up to Dark Knight, because Dark Knight took Christopher Nolan's films and just films in general to such a new level. Back to Inception though, it's
Yeah.
like, I guess what else I didn't like about it was the fact that it really steals a lot from The Matrix in terms of the idea of a dream and like being in a different world when you're supposedly it's just a simulator and a dream, just this and that.
Well, I mean, you could say the same for any film.
But still, though, it's like the idea of how it's all set up and how the process just really reminded me a lot of The Matrix for starters. And I just thought it had a very soap opera kind of feel in terms of like DiCaprio and Marion Cotillard and their relationship and such, which I will not give away for those who have not seen it, but
Soap opera. You thought that the plot, the romance kind of drama plot was like a soap opera.
in a sense, yes.
I don't know what to say to that. I mean, that added so much depth to the film. That was the reason I cared for Leonardo DiCaprio's character. That was a whole new element of like suspense and drama that was put into the film that like was also relevant to the plot.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna give away anything, but it's
Of course.
pretty shocking what happened to Marion Cotillard's character.
Of course.
And I just thought that it was. I mean, sure, it was a subplot, but it kind of fueled the story in a way, which I also won't give away. It fueled the story. I mean, and to call it like a soap opera is a little
Drastic?
Yeah, it's a little drastic because you could say the same about a lot of films.
Of course.
I mean, I think Precious is more of a soap opera than this. I don't know if you've seen that, but I mean, you could say the same thing about any film with any sense of drama in it.
Anyhow, though,
Yeah.
I guess what else I didn't like about it was how they focus on certain details so much that it takes away from a lot of other things in the movie, such as what could have been more interesting, like the plot, the action, the characters.
But I thought they focused on the most important stuff, definitely.
And I just thought they could have explained the story just as well with cutting at least half an hour to 28 minutes in the movie out.
I thought that every part in that story was relevant to the movie, and like, sure, it was long, but it didn't feel like it was dragged out and long to me. I mean, like, I did not feel like going to sleep in the theater when I was watching it.
Alright. And to sum up our review of Inception, I definitely give it a fail.
Okay, and well, I give it a pass, definitely.
Now, on to our next and final review. I would like to review, as well as Peter, The Losers. What I personally liked about it was, yes, there is a slow start, and the whole concept of what happens in the beginning is rather unjust, and rather startling, but...
rather offensive for me.
Okay, I understand that.
It doesn't take a lot to offend me, but that kind of did. I don't know.
Okay.
25 dead children. That kind of really offended me.
That is rather depressing and offending, yes. But the motive of the characters who were betrayed by a certain someone in the movie, it really is interesting to watch how they build themselves up and eventually get back at those who were
responsible
for the children's death, yes.
Yeah. I mean, when you have a revenge plot,
yes,
you have to really care about the characters.
Absolutely.
In this film, I didn't really get a sense of who the characters were, or like, they just seemed like people to me, like people in a painting. I mean, sure, I guess they had some sort of depth to them, but it just seemed like they were just there.
I guess I really liked the fact they really, in some ways, did get to know who they were in terms of like why they were doing what they were doing and how they wanted, after they were done with their mission, how they wanted to go back to their families, live their normal lives. That part of it I thought they did very well. And there wasn't like action every 2 seconds like a Van Damme or Steven Seagal movie.
Oh, so there wasn't action every 2 seconds. There was action every 2 minutes.
When there was action, though, I thought they did it very well when there was action. It was well filmed, well put together, well choreographed, and overall it's really well done. The few action scenes that there were, and that makes up, in my opinion, for the little or no action that other people thought there was or wasn't.
Well, I definitely thought, I didn't think there was no action. I mean, the beginning was definitely for me. But, like, this doesn't relate to the 25 dead children plot trigger thing, but, like, once that helicopter got shot, the movie just went downhill. I mean, because, like, I kept waiting for there to be action, and it was just dialogue after dialogue after dialogue, just piled on top of each other, and I didn't even really know these characters, and even the action scenes, I felt, they just seemed so generic to other action movies I've seen. Nothing really stood out. There wasn't much, like, creativity put into them. It was, like, just, like, gun, martial arts,
it wasn't the most original plot for a movie, but I still thought the little bit of originality there was, it was used well, and I just really enjoyed it. I'm gonna say I just really did enjoy it. Just sit back and enjoy kind of a feel-good kind of movie with a little something to it.
Well, that may be what you think, but like, there was this one dialogue scene that just got so long, and like, after sitting through like 3 dialogue scenes and coming to this one, I fast forwarded it, and like, even while I was fast forwarding, it seemed like forever to go through that dialogue scene. And I won't give anything away, but there's a twist in the movie which I didn't really care about. Well, I mean, because I didn't know the character that well, and I mean, even if I watched, when I watched that dialogue scene, I didn't care anymore than I already did. I just, that guy, whoever it was that I will not tell, I just didn't care about his character. I didn't feel any trust with him that could be broken.
You make a valid point. Anyhow, summing up our review shows for today, I definitely give The Losers a pass.
And I give The Losers, rightfully so, a fail. Well, that's all for today. We'll see you next time.
You got it.